It is great to have you here. Thanks so much for coming on by this afternoon, this morning, this evening, whenever you've clicked on this video. Maybe you're watching this live stream right now, but it is fantastic to have you here. It is Tuesday, March 11th. Damon Bruce Plus, brought to you by Ike Sandwiches. And I know it's been a rough day for 49ers fans. Free agency basically is a one-way street out of town for the most part for 49ers fans. And it's been tough. It has been tough. There's no doubt about it. I've even got my girl, Michelle Haberman, saying, I know what you're going to say, DB, but this one sucks. It does. It sucks. There's no doubt. Paul Nappy saying last place is ours again this year in the West. No, Paul, do not give up hope. Again, look, free agency was never going to be the friend of the 49ers. They were only going to lose. They weren't going to add this year. The draft hasn't happened yet. I know that this team looks like everybody's leaving it, but you haven't seen a single name show up to it yet. And that is going to be where this season really takes place. Folks, welcome to a new version of the San Francisco 49ers. We kind of told you that it was coming. The team suggested it's coming, and boom, it is officially here. The big rumor that is out there today, it's really not a rumor. It's almost news at this point, saying that Joey Bosa is basically deciding between the 49ers and the Dolphins, and the 49ers are close. Now, Joey Bosa at the right price, I think is a good ad, especially with the news today that Leonard Floyd is the latest released player. You know, is there an 8.5 sack season in Joey Bosa? That's the season that Leonard Floyd just had. But if I asked you for your favorite Leonard Floyd memory, you wouldn't be able to access that in the old memory banks really quickly. Let me just tell you, there's a lot of proof out there everywhere in the world that men used to be tougher. Look at the way your dad and your grandfather handled Joe Montana leaving town, and the way your contemporaries are handling Dre Greenlaw getting traded. Like, Dre Greenlaw is a really good player, but he's older, he's getting too expensive, he's got a torn Achilles, and his best days are behind him. And if I could quote a man that you all apparently say you worshiped him or you worship his ghost, Bill Walsh is literally echoing throughout every single decision that the 49ers are making. A lot of them sting. Many of them are smart, though. It's better to say goodbye a year too early than a year too late. And that's what's going on here. A lot of these goodbyes are because maybe they held on to guys for a year too long. Look, it's rough out there. As you can see by the thumbnail, this is about what the 49ers no longer are today. And by the way, if you can find anybody else covering the NFL free agency and 49ers free agency through the prism of the Sound of Music, like, you go ahead and you subscribe to them too. Hopefully you like and subscribe to this video as well. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, adieu to the 49ers Super Bowl window. It's not just these guys. And I'm not saying that they might not find a way to crack up, open a new one. You know, just because you finished a six-pack doesn't mean you're all done drinking. But the 49ers, as we knew them, are all gone. 11 starters from a Super Bowl that was played only 13 months ago are now gone. So it is massive change. It's change that a 6-win team asked for. They asked for it. The results demanded change come. Now, there's an awful lot of stuff happening behind the scenes and in spreadsheets and with accountants that just, fans, it sucks that you think about things like dead cap space and liquidity and cash spent on NFL rosters that go beyond the concept of the salary cap, that you understand it. Like, this is the business of football that is officially like adult shit and not fun at all. And the Dorcas Malort guy out there who really love this stuff, like, go be an accountant if this is how you like sports. But really, I was asked to explain it simply. Like, what is going on here? Why is this such a mass exodus from the San Francisco 49ers? And basically, I think the right way, like the elevator pitch, how do you quickly explain what just happened to all 49ers fans who you're talking to and they're like, what the hell just happened? The bill for Brock Purdy is hitting the table right at the same time as the bill for a Super Bowl appearance also kind of hit the table. And unfortunately, with every Super Bowl win, all those teams suffer from the disease of more. The minute you get to a Super Bowl and you win it, everyone turns around and asks for more. Well, for the 49ers, they got more even by losing it. The 49ers got all that comes with a Super Bowl except the Lombardi Trophy. Look at what the Eagles are doing in the last 24 hours of free agency. There's a lot of good players that they're saying goodbye to because they understand that that third contract is going to get prohibitively expensive, or trading a guy with a controllable year on his deal right now is going to get you a bigger return to reload, rebuild. Smart football teams have to operate in a way that's going to tear your heart out as a fan, and we know that. At least the adults in the room know that. This had to happen. And oh, by the way, if you spent all last year complaining about this team sucks, this team is no good, yet you're going to complain about all those players that were sucked and no good in your evaluation last year leaving, again, you don't know where to stop the complaining. I understand. You had a Dre Greenlaw jersey. By the way, if I were a I buy jerseys guy, I would have absolutely bought a Dre Greenlaw jersey. That guy is everything that is right and good with the concept of defensive football violence. He was a leader. He is everything you want on a football field in a linebacker, except damaged goods that's getting a little bit more expensive. Look, I have a buddy of mine named Brandon Cristal, who is a radio host in Denver. He and I have been going back and forth on our DMs on Twitter, and he's like, dude, tell me more about Greenlaw. Tell me more about Hufanga. What do I need to know as these guys are coming to my market? And I just basically said, Dre Greenlaw, when right, is everything that's right with defensive football. He's a little on the edge of the rule book. He is going to pick up a flag for a roughing that makes you say, just dial it down a little bit, but you don't want to dial down Dre Greenlaw. You don't. You happily take the flag and the penalty and watch this guy lead the game in tackles once again. Like, that's who Dre Greenlaw is. Total badass. Love him. Absolutely love him. I was like, Talanoa Hufanga is a hard-hitting, pretty damn good young safety who, burst onto the scene and then has regressed a little through injury. He's got bad hands. He doesn't, nearly pick off the ball as well as predecessors did. But at the same thing, though, he is an A-plus guy. Talanoa Hufanga is the dude you want your daughter to bring home. Dad, this is my prom date. Meeting Talanoa Hufanga is meeting a respectful gentleman. He's great. So the Denver Broncos got two really good players. Well, why were they able to do that? The everybody today's got a little bit of Minnesota Vikings envy, don't they? You see what the Vikings have done? The Vikings so far have added Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, Will Fries, Ryan Kelly. Basically, the defensive line and offensive line signings that maybe the 49ers you wanted to make and see happen, they happened in Minnesota. They signed cornerback Isaiah Rodgers. And the reason that they're able to do all that is because they got a quarterback on a rookie deal who's a complete unknown, and they got out of the Sam Darnold business. When you got a quarterback on a rookie contract, you have this beautiful small slice of magical window to maybe fit everything around. And look, the Niners did a hell of a job. Again, they did everything but win the Super Bowl with the quarterback on the rookie contract, with a loaded team that was so loaded for that moment. They got old and expensive quickly, and it had to be undone. It had to be undone. This is what smart teams do. You claim to want to root for a smart team. Well, what do you mean when you say that? Because a lot of this stuff that you don't like that has happened in the last 24, 48 hours is smart decision making. And I am no homer. I am not making excuses. You have the right to be angry that these guys aren't kept around, but also at the same time, you have no right at all because Brock Purdy is staying. And if you're still confused about Brock Purdy, like I've tried so hard to help you there over the last couple of years, if you still don't sprechen the Purdy, there you go. By the way, if you don't sprechen Sie much German or Austrian, maybe you had a little trouble with that thumbnail. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, adieu. Again, if you can find anybody else covering NFL free agency through the prism of the Sound of Music, you should subscribe to them as well. This is tough. But this is football. Now, this is actually It's changed a little since I saw this last night, and I just grabbed this off of, I think it was a Facebook page called Purdy's Niners. Well, it's funny that it's called Purdy's Niners because in many ways, it's not Brock's fault this is happening, but Brock's contract is a big reason why this is happening, or his coming contract. And just look at this. This is from Purdy's 49ers, which I guess is a Facebook page. And again, this has changed a little bit, and it's not the most accurate thing I've ever seen, but look at that lost list. Dre Greenlaw, Aaron Banks, Jalen Moore, Elijah Mitchell, Malik Collins, Josh Dobbs, Talanoa Hufanga, Debo Samuel, Chavarius Ward, Kyle Juszczyk, Javon Hargrave, all of them gone. Added Luke Farrell. Now, they didn't add Kevin Givens. They kept him. They didn't add Patrick Taylor. They kept him. Because of the trades that they've made, they're allowed up to 4 compensatory picks, and they've gotten those picks. There are 3 in the 4th round, 1 in the 5th round, plus the 5th rounder from the Debo trade, all right there on that graphic. Now, when you talk about what they've done today, they have said goodbye to Leonard Floyd. They've waived Leonard Floyd today. That happened. They're very close on Joey Bosa. I got to give Dieter Kurtenbaugh credit for this line. It's the perfect line. I saw it on Twitter. And by the way, Dieter Kurtenbaugh is going to be joining us at 11 a.m. live streaming West Coast time on Thursday. So looking forward to Dieter joining us on Thursday. We will have also a Niner late night special on Wednesday night. On Wednesday night, me, Sam Batesh, maybe Andrew Siciliano will be joining us to do a full free agency, looking at all teams, several pieces now landing in place. We're going to do a big free agent show on Wednesday night here on YouTube as well. But look, in the last hour, Leonard Floyd, gone. Greenlaw and Hufanga going to Denver, Mooney Ward to the Colts, Aaron Banks to the Packers, Jalen Moore and Elijah Mitchell to the Chiefs, Josh Dobbs to the Patriots, Kyle Juszczyk is TBD, Malik Collins, TBD, Demetrius Flanagan Fowles, I haven't seen him attached to anybody yet. Hargrave, he did sign on with the Vikings. John Feliciano retired, and obviously Debo traded. So there's just a massive, massive change, but it was change that was needed. It was change that was needed not only from a spreadsheet financial standpoint, but also from we need to re-energize this team. We need to get younger. We need to get faster. We need to get less expensive. We need to get more prudent. And I think that, look, the 49ers next season will be determined by this draft. If they have a crackerjack draft, there is nothing off the table for next season that could be a playoff appearance. So I'm dead serious. They could still be a very, very good team. Everyone just saying, oh, it's fait accompli. They're done. You just forfeit on next year. It's all over now. No. We haven't even seen who's walked in the door yet. And there's going to be 15, 16 rookies in the door. And you know what? Kyle's going to have to play him, whether he wants to or not. It's just the position that the 49ers now find themselves in. Again, 11 starters from a Super Bowl. That was just, the result of 2 seasons of work ago. 11 starters are now gone. So let's talk about who's in the door. Because tight end Luke Farrell is in the door from Jacksonville. This is a guy who has caught just a handful of passes and 0 touchdowns. He is a blocking tight end, but he is a very good one. And when you look at the 49ers receiving core, I see George Kittle split out more like Jimmy Graham than on the line of scrimmage, like an extra tackle. I think that George Kittle needs to get more involved in the passing game than ever before. And by the way, the 49ers had now a huge pile of money to be working from. Obviously, a lot of that is earmarked for Brock Purdy. Beyond that, my friends, I want to see extensions for Greenlaw. I want to see an extension for Kittle. I want to see an extension for Fred Warner. And I also want to see an extension for Diamador Lenore, because he's a young player you do want to go forward with, and he is about to get massively expensive should he hit the market. So buy him out right now. Again, the time to extend Diamador Lenore is today, because tomorrow it gets more expensive. So I would do that right now. The 49ers this morning also added a safety, Richie Grant, who's been with the Falcons since 2001, where he was 2021, a second rounder. The 49ers gave him a 1-year deal. He is another safety in the room. The safety room right now is Malik Mustafa, Jair Brown, Jalen Mahoney, and Richie Grant. Richie Grant maybe pushes Brown for a starting safety spot, but what he is going to do is play every single conceivable special team snap. That's what he is. He is a special teamer extraordinaire. He didn't miss a single special teams coverage snap from the Falcons last year. So he is brought in to make sure that gets better. Again, you got compensatory picks coming. The draft is growing. More and more and more, more guys are going to show up. Who are they going to be? I mean, read your mocks, get into your mocks, get dork out all you want on simulated mock drafts. We'll have our answers soon. But to declare the 49ers shut down, negligent, bad at this, worse than last year, how about this? Everyone's saying, well, the Niners are now officially worse than they were before. I bet you they had better than 6 wins next year. So don't tell me that they really got worse, because you are what your record is. And I think the 49ers are going to be better than a 6-win team next year. And I haven't even seen the draft. I'll tell you what, this draft class will be the answer to, was this a good draft for the 49ers? Yes or no? That answer will be the same answer to, did John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan get another contract? These two guys are still around thanks to Brock Purdy saving their bacon. And they're pretty good at what they do in other areas. This, though, is the draft class that will determine whether this whole thing really marches forward through time or only has like a year or two left in it. So, as Yogi Berra famously said, when you get to the fork in the road, you take it. Here we are. Here we are. By the way, thanks to everyone for watching. Views have been up. Traffic on the site has been up, and I really, really appreciate that. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you so much for taking care of the sponsors who take care of me. And again, you will be taken care of when you get to Ike's. If you have never been to an Ike's, you got to get to one, especially if there's one around you. Over 100 locations up and down the West Coast, moving eastward, ever expanding. Ike's has got a delicious sandwich with my name on it. Literally, you can go get yourself a Damon Bruce at Ike's. I recommend it highly. I'm a great sandwich to lose your Ike's virginity on. I really am. You'll be very, very happy. And our good friends at the Dubliner West Portal, best Guinness pull all of San Francisco. Go in there to watch Warriors basketball. If you're a Warriors fan, you're having some fun. We'll get to them in just a little bit, but today's a big football day. And listen to this. I got to tell you, just, Damon, what are you doing? Why is today's live stream going to be a little shorter? Listen to this. As many of you know, I'm a part of a charity group here in San Francisco called the Guardsmen. Well, a few years ago, the Guardsmen were joined by a former NFL player, former Indianapolis and New England Patriot Colt tight end, Dwayne Allen. Dwayne Allen now lives in the Bay Area where he's an NFLPA rep, and he and I are going to lunch today because we've got a Guardsman sports auction coming up that we need to talk about. Plus, Dwayne and I are just overdue. We've been talking about, we need to get together, and we're finally doing that today. So maybe I will be able to produce to you someone who has played in the league, been traded in the league, knows everything about how football works, and is an NFL player rep. Hopefully, he'll be joining me on an upcoming show to talk about just what these guys go through when they hit free agency, when they get to these massive moments in their careers. We talk about free agency as if we're moving, bags of potatoes around. Like these guys don't have real lives and aren't real people. You saw George Kittle basically, there's a lot of Niner fans expressing regret over losing Kyle Juszczyk. And Kyle Juszczyk was a smart, likable, funny player with a wife that everybody really liked and made jackets for all the 49ers players' wives and stuff. Kyle Juszczyk was probably a better teammate than he was fullback. Pro Bowl status there. And look at it this way. There's basically only two fullbacks really in the game of football right now. The 49ers got one. The Ravens got one. So those are the two fullbacks that go to the Pro Bowl every year by default. It's almost like when somebody runs in a district in an election and they run unopposed. Like, who the hell's going to take the Pro Bowl nod away from Kyle Juszczyk for fullback? Because most teams don't even have fullbacks. And look, Kyle Juszczyk If we're being totally honest, there is no player who has more smoke blown up his ass about how good and how important he is to winning football than Kyle Juszczyk has had over the last couple of years. Here's what Kyle Juszczyk is: useless in the red zone and basically good for 1 or 2 wheel routes a year. Let me say that again. Useless in the red zone as a blocker or ball carrier, good for 1 or 2 wheel routes a year. Guess who your new Kyle Juszczyk is? Luke Farrell, former tight end from Jacksonville. He's going to play some fullback. Ask an offensive lineman to play fullback when you're in a goal-to-go situation, when you're in a beef wins the moment situation. Kyle Juszczyk, good player, great guy, best days behind him. Based on usage and pay, that was an easy goodbye. That's an easy goodbye. Now, for the players, again, this is their friend. They hate seeing their friend walk away. They hate seeing their friend, who they know is still good at what he does, walk away. But honestly, the 49ers didn't use or didn't get enough usage or production out of Kyle Juszczyk. His nickname's Juice. Well, the juice was no longer worth the squeeze. I think that's the way they felt about Deebo Samuel. Greenlaw and Hufanga, those are the guys that I think are the toughest goodbyes, because one is so established as a badass. If he's got anything left, you would have liked it. And Hufanga is still so young. We don't even really know what he is, what he's going to be. I think Malik Collins, who got released, maybe the 49ers get back to him to sort of restructure, bring him back. I thought he had a good year. I thought Malik Collins was maybe the second or third best defensive lineman that the 49ers had from a defensive line that they're massively needing to upgrade, but I thought he was good. Maybe he walks back into the room somehow, some way. But this is a bloodletting. This is a serious, let's change things up. And they're doing that. Sergio Fernandez, this rebuild was due. I agree. Regular Ryan, you and I are on the exact same page. Well, I mean, I don't know about most overrated player in Niners history, and I certainly never lost respect for the guy, but he no longer served a Pro Bowl level. Just again, so you have a Pro Bowl fullback. What'd you do with him? The answer was not much. Not much. So we had to go. I agree with you, Otis. Maybe Garendo plays a little fullback. Dude, I'm asking some backup offensive lineman to come in and play fullback. All you got to do is put a head on a hat and hit somebody. By the way, I'm totally pro fullback. I love fullbacks. I'm built like a fullback. I am a fullback body type. You know what I mean? Like I'm down with fullbacks. But unfortunately, the NFL isn't, and certainly at a price point. Nico Bobic, it's a core and no supporting cast relying on a draft that Lynch and York and Shanahan don't do good on. They aren't going to be good. I'm going to fade that opinion. I think the 49ers are going to be good. I think that the NFC West is going to come down to the 49ers and Rams. That's it. Seahawks did nothing. Arizona is just Arizona. You never really have to worry about them, even though they will beat the 49ers one game. They always do. The Niners always trip over Arizona somehow. But I think that it's going to be 49ers and Rams. And, McVay loses an awful lot to Kyle Shanahan historically. That happens. So I don't think that you need to be throwing the baby out with this bathwater. It is a last play schedule. It is Robert Saleh back in the room. It is special teams that won't be sabotaging your chance to win week in, week out. Don't give up on a team whose draft class you haven't even seen yet. Maybe it doesn't work out. Nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's promised. How about all of this incredible talent winning just 6 games last year? You're going to keep a 6-win team at a high price point around? It's just not going to happen. By the way, oi, oi, oi! Oi, 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 650 putting $50 in the ganja jar. That, my folks, is a super chat. Cheers. Thank you so very, very much. Look, I'm telling you, at no point in time were the Niners ever as good as maybe you thought they were. And at no point in time have the 49ers been nearly as bad as you think they are. It's almost like Olympic figure skating, where you got to throw out the highest score and the worst score, and then the average in the middle is kind of who you are. I'm telling you, the Niners are going to be better than you think. I'm telling you that of all the players that are hard to say goodbye to, there ain't anybody in the history of this league who wears the crown of irreplaceable. Everyone gets replaced. Everyone. So, look, you're going to get young again. You need to get faster again. You're going to get cost effective again. And let me tell you, the big free agent splash that you want on day one, that is always a little bit of fool's gold. So be careful and don't want that too much. Maybe that happens next year now. The Niners will have a flexibility attached to next year that is just not there for them this year. Again, they've saved a ton of money to reinvest in the team. I want Purdy done by Friday. I want Kittle restructured and done by Friday. I want Joey Bosa by the end of business today. I want Fred Warner. Oh, by the way, I think I needed to tell you that Dieter Kurtenball had a great line about Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa, as he considers playing for the 49ers or the Dolphins, the line that Dieter had was, Joey Bosa now has to pick between the love of his brother or the hatred of state income tax. That's the decision. That's it. I thought that was a great line. It's not a fire sale. It's a reset. It's a reset. Fire sale, I think, means, you walk away and you don't, you walk away and you don't even replace. That's not what's going on here. Lots of comments. Again, lots of stress. I totally get it. This is just the beginning of the season that you're going to see. It's just the beginning. And the start has sucked. It's a sequence of waving goodbye to players that you like. You're going to fall in love with a rookie. You're going to get excited about next year the closer it gets. I promise. I know how this works, and you do too. You do too. Future financial flexibility. Restocking an aging team. Team was only going to get more and more expensive. You get into third contract with any NFL player. If you haven't renegotiated that at a price point that works for the both of you, it's just going to be tough. Day one free agents are, how about this? Day one free agents, rarely do you get Saquon Barkley. Rarely do you get, Christian McCaffrey wasn't a free agent, but rarely do you get some guy who comes in and impacts you that dramatically. I promise you, we don't even know their names yet, but the 49ers defensive line is going to probably do better at stopping the run than they did last year, because you can't do much worse than below average. Well, you can get worse than below average and go way below average, but I just think the 49ers are still too good to do that. They'll be better. I think they're going to be better again without even knowing who these guys are. I don't think you can have a bigger yawn than you had last year, and this year is going to be better than a yawn. I promise you. A lot of people think there's something up. There's something a little like fishy going on. And no, this is, you claim to want to root for a smart front office. Well, everyone only attaches front office merits to like draft picks. And the draft is an inexact science. There is absolutely zero guarantee that this player is going to work out one way or the other. You're making an educated guess. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. What you do have control over is your financials, your money. And I do think that this is smart. I do think that this is smart. You can always play with your brother once you're in the NFL. Florida, well, no, I think you meant Leslie, you mean you can't. Exactly. You know, if Joey Bosa, if he wants to make the most amount of money and keep what he makes, Florida is going to be the place for you. And, you know, maybe even thinks that the Dolphins are closer to being a playoff team than the, but look, you only get this opportunity to ever play with your brother. Here it is. You haven't played with him since high school. You want to do it? Again, at the right price, I like Joey Bosa. At the wrong price, I will run away from him faster than any quarterback does. It's got to be the right price. Everything attached to the 49ers, as you can see clearly by what they're doing and their courses of action, it's all right price. So look, everyone needs to just calm down. Calm down just a little. See what's going on here in the chat. Yeah, breaking news. Everyone in the chat got released. It's a cold game. Yeah, sir. Love it. Don't just like it. Thank you very much, Joseph. I really appreciate that. But since you can't, there is no love button, hit that like. Give me a thumbs up. Again, 6 wins. Needed change. If it were 6 wins with a young developing team trying to reach its first Super Bowl, like that's going up the mountain. The 49ers were coming down the mountain and hit 6 wins. That's reset. And I would agree with you, Michael. Aside from Dre Greenlaw, not many of these departures are that bad. Again, let's go over them again. Leonard Floyd, 8.5 sacks. That feels replaceable. Dre Greenlaw, again, that hurts, but at the price point and at the damage. Remember how often Dre Greenlaw would be down on an NFL field, hurt, something went wrong, he pulled this, wrenched that. He was always getting hurt before he tore his Achilles. So, look, it hurts to say it, but it probably is right to walk away. Now, if Dre Greenlaw goes and plays in Denver for 3 years and is, just killing dudes, yeah, there's going to be some regret there. Same thing with Talanoa Hufanga. Those, to me, are the ones that kind of hurt the most. Mooney Ward, I thought, was a really, really good corner. But this is a man who went through a level of personal tragedy here in the Bay Area that maybe just means he wants to get away from the Bay Area. So, like, Mooney Ward going to Indianapolis, good luck with that. Who's ever going to root against Mooney Ward? No one. Aaron Banks going to the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Banks, 2 years ago, was much better than he was a year ago. So it feels like there's a regression there. Jalen Moore, look, there's a part of me that would have liked to have seen him get an opportunity to maybe replace McKivitz at right tackle. But again, you can't be paying your backup the kind of money that he just got now. So that's how that happened. Elijah Mitchell, again, really like him. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. So that's kind of a walk away guy. By the way, they have also tendered, put a second round tender on Jordan Mason. So he's probably not going anywhere and will be a pretty highly paid backup. So you got McCaffrey, Mason, and Garendo in your backfield. There isn't any room for really Elijah Mitchell. I think losing Malik Collins will hurt a little. I think replacing Kyle Juszczyk is going to be pretty damn easy. Feliciano didn't even play. Hargrave, that guy's easy to replace. Debo, Just another guy I think is going to give you more than what Debo did. Who is that guy? Well, we're about to find out. Maybe they do something today in a mid-tier, well-priced type of free agent, right? Maybe they do something today that is a bit easier for them to digest because, again, Tyler Lockett is out there. Keenan Allen, Elijah Moore. Are any of these guys perfect? No, but they got a good price point. Can you hang on for a second? I got to take a leak. I got to take a leak so bad I can feel it in my back teeth. Here, wait a minute. I think I got a, do I have, yeah, here we go. I'll be right back. We have we got like 700 people, something like watching right now. Stay there. Bathroom break. Right back. In the meantime, Michelle Haberman and Smiley Dan are in charge. It's the best part of the whole show, wasn't it? Best part of the live stream today. Most amount of comments probably came in the last minute. By the way, see, there you go. Likes are up, views are up. This chair it's just a ratings monster. That chair is a monster. Thought you lost me there for a second, right? Like, oh my God, Damon got released. No, I just had to go into the backyard and release. This is a urine. Let's see. So basically, yeah, even Damon got released. I mean, I don't know why everything just percolated and bubbled up right there. It's not like I'm doing anything different. It's not like I'm eating, drinking extra coffee this morning. Normally, I got better bladder control than that. But here we are, the gift of aging. All right. You want to talk about front office negligence? Oh, by the way, here, hold on. I get rid of that. Front office negligence. You want to talk about like, oh my God, that is poorly run. I'm going to take you out of the NFL here for a second to just tell you what's going on with the Dallas Mavericks to me is fascinating. And I got a little Warriors for you here, and then we're going to get to today in history. Then I got to go have lunch with a former NFL player who maybe will be a good friend to us here on the show soon. So listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to what Nico Harrison and the Dallas Mavericks have done. They have turned Kristaps Porzingis, Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, Derek Jones Jr., and Luka Doncic into Spencer Dinwiddie, Davis Bertans, Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick, and Caleb Martin. That's it. That is insane. Look at what Utah got for just moving Rudy Gobert, and then look at that haul. It's pathetic. That's what front office negligence looks like. That's what sabotaging and people who don't know what they're doing look like. By the way, poor Klay Thompson is like all alone now, all alone in Dallas. They have lost so many guys due to injury that I think they were playing with like 7 dudes. So Klay's got to give him like 40 minutes a night. Feel bad for Klay. Meanwhile, anybody else notice how bouncy the Warriors look? How great the Warriors look? Man, it's real. It's really happening, right? It's really happening. Last night, a triple-double from Jimmy Buckets. Curry does his usual thing. Gary Payton II plays his best game, not only as a Warrior, but a career high in scoring. Maybe his best game ever played in the NBA. Buddy Hield certainly had his best all-around game with the Warriors. I mean, Buddy Hield made a steal at midcourt and pulled up for a three that he buried. It was his best sequence that he's had as a Golden State Warrior. Moses Moody, I'm telling you, you want to talk about, like, I mean, I'm a fan of Steve Kerr and the Warriors, but sometimes their development has been questionable. What would Moses Moody be if he were really like 4 years into his career? Because his career really hasn't even gotten off the launching pad at any point in time with the Golden State Warriors. They hardly used the guy in the dawn of his career, and now we are finally seeing what Moses Moody can be. And just like I suspected, hey, there's a reason why this guy kind of was a lottery pick. Like, he's pretty fucking good, and you're going to want to use him more. Moses Moody played great last night. He's getting better by the game. And you know who else is? Quentin Post. Dude, Quentin Post, a couple of games ago, got abused defensively. He didn't look good. He learns fast, doesn't he? Quentin Post, man. Quentin Post develops and learns faster than my guy, Trace Jackson Davis. I think we have to admit it, and that's why Trace Jackson Davis, you know, Trace has been a little bit banged up. Plus, he's got Quentin Post taking his minutes. Quentin Post has been fantastic lately. They host the Kings on Thursday. They're looking for a sixth straight win, and I think I'm going to call Raymond Ritter and get into that game. I think I got to go see the Warriors on Thursday night. I have yet to see them in person since the Buckets trade. So I am due. You know what you're due? You're due your day in history. A little history lesson for you. By the way, a couple of names that you heard in that NBA segment will be reappearing in today's history segment, starting with our happy birthdays. Happy 32nd birthday to Anthony Davis. When Anthony Davis was at Kentucky, we had never really seen anything quite like that guy. Like, he was one of those first, yeah, I'm 7 feet tall, but I have point guard skills level talents. Anthony Davis also was on the court for the Watt shot and was basically, Anthony Davis got scared out of a basketball game by Assembly Hall. That happened. Kentucky has not been back since. Bitches. By the way, Michelle Haberman, no more you and me getting along this week. I got Indiana, Oregon on the schedule, which means from now on, Michelle, from right now, you and I are at war until that game ends. Then we'll smoke them peace pipe. But until then, Michelle, we're at war. Go Hoosiers. So happy birthday, Anthony Davis. A fabulous basketball player who cannot stay healthy, and I will also hold him going to Kentucky over him his entire life, as I do all Kentucky players. Let's see. Happy 54th birthday to Johnny Knoxville. It's kind of amazing that Johnny made it to 54, although he would never do the crazy jackass stunts. That was left to Steve-O. Like, you know, we got to hang a raw chicken off the underpants off of somebody, you know, tightrope walking over a crocodile pit. That was always Steve-O. That was never Johnny. Johnny would do something like, okay, push me down the hill in a shopping cart while I'm wearing a helmet. Johnny was crazy. Steve-O was nuts. Happy birthday, Johnny Knoxville. 54 years old. He must be sore. All right. Today in history. Look at it this way. We would have lost so much history, but for the fact people got to write shit down. Well, you got to write shit down thanks to Sai Lun, who in the year 105 invented paper. We start our day in history in China with the advent of paper. And because of that happening in year 105, what happened in 1818 was possible when a book called The Modern Prometheus was widely published. It was recognized as the world's first science fiction novel. and became a bit more famous for its character, so much so that the character became the title, Frankenstein. Frankenstein, when it was originally written by Mary Shelley, was called The Modern Prometheus. She wrote that when she was 21 years old in 1818. You and I know it as Frankenstein. So happy birthday, Frankenstein, which is another German reference which goes with the Wiedersehen thumbnail. Today, in 1918, 100 years after everybody got Frankenstein, almost everybody got the Spanish flu. One of the most devastating pandemics in human history officially got to the United States today in 1918 with the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu worldwide killed like 50 million people. That was bad. That was officially bad. Today, in 1997, so big fast forward to 1997, Queen Elizabeth knighted Paul McCartney for his service to music. Sir Paul. Again, pardon me, I've told this story before. I've been lucky enough to be in the same room with some pretty famous damn people, thanks to sporting events I've been to, media access that I've had. I have seen fame walk into a room, walk out of the room. I've seen people react to fame. You know, I saw an entire NFL assembled media crane its neck to watch Beyonce walk into Radio Row for a Super Bowl halftime show in New Orleans a few years ago. I've seen some pretty, like that there's a level of fame that is famous, and then there's Beyonce level fame. Like, that's fucking fame. Nobody compares to Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney went walking through a hotel in New Orleans in the lobby, and you would have thought time stopped. It was as if everyone rose to attention, as if the national anthem was being played. I mean, it was unbelievable. Paul McCartney, that's a freaking star. I told you would hear about Anthony Davis. You will also hear about Rudy Gobert. Even though they've been referenced in the show, they get referenced today in history, because today, 5 years ago, there must be something about March 11th and pandemics hitting America, because we gave you the Spanish flu, and 5 years ago, the entire NBA shut down its regular season. The NBA suspended all play while COVID basically stopped normalcy in America as we know it. In every imaginable way, we were affected by this. Rudy Gobert was the canary in the coal mine, right? Rudy Gobert was the first NBA player to officially test positive for COVID. He, is joking about it, and he touches all the reporters' recorders and stuff that were in front of him, and he gives reporters who were covering the Utah Jazz COVID, and it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. It really was. It sucked. So luckily, all that is over. Yeah, today was a scary day 5 years ago. Again, there are elements of that we certainly got right. There are way many more elements of that everybody got wrong. No more finger pointing, no more blaming. It's good to be a little bit back to normal for sure. And in the meantime, cover your mouth when you sneeze. It's a nice thing to do. Thank you very much for watching today. Again, it was a short one live stream this afternoon. I got to get to a lunch with Dwayne Allen, who used to play for the Colts and the Patriots and won a Super Bowl with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. And he's a guardsman. And, we'll see what comes of that relationship. I think it's going to be an interesting one. So what a wonderful resource we might be able to tap into soon here, an actual NFL player rep. So all of that is, I'm working behind the scenes for you. I also really want lunch today. And it's going to be great. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. Thank you for the support. Thank you for checking out Ike's. Thank you for heading over to the Dubliner and West portal. Thank you so much for the super chats, for the likes, for the subscribes, for all that good stuff. And please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, He's gone.